Uta Devitum Vishununja Twamcha Dharanamam Gijam Bhavitam Chasaram Kuru. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Welcome, everybody. So happy to see you here. We've located here in the heart of Silicon Valley for a reason. That is to build an oasis-like environment. Everyone's thirsty in this world, and when one asks for water, people will come forward and offer water. But just like a person wending his way through the desert, dying of thirst, who asks for water and then is offered one drop from an eyedropper, doesn't feel satisfied. So similarly, the kind of happiness that we're looking for in this material world, it comes to us in such small quantities that we can hardly say that it's real happiness. It comes and it goes, it evaporates before it touches the tongue. It's like a mirage in the desert. And the whole world, according to Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is just like that. And in his prayers, the great devotee Akrura said to Lord Krishna that, what is my position? I'm like a person who was living at a water hole with a beautiful, unlimited well with pure water. And then I ran off into the desert to find water. So there is a way to experience real happiness. It's not theoretical, although sometimes people become frustrated because they hear of so many spiritual practices, religious practices, and they become disappointed because oftentimes the practices become rote or ritualistic, and the processes go on through cultural momentum rather than with great concentration or knowledge of the efficacy of the process itself. However, spiritual life is a fact because we are spiritual beings. And Krishna proves this in the Bhagavad Gita by pointing out to us that although the body changes, we don't. And at the time of leaving this body, the body becomes inanimate, whereas we go on. And he says that a sober person, a person who's become wise and has experienced the difference between himself, herself, and the body, isn't disturbed by all these changes. Furthermore, such a person realizes that it's almost a complete waste of time, to take care of the body, although it needs to be maintained to a certain degree in order to facilitate our inquiry further and further into the truth of spiritual life, about God, about our relationship with God. Other than that, excess gratification of the body overstimulates the senses in the body, and they demand more and more. They're never satisfied. If you pour gasoline in a fire, it may seem that the fire's gone down, but just for a few seconds. And then it comes back stronger. So in a similar way, satisfying the senses too much and for the wrong reasons overstimulates them, and then they demand twice as much next time. Even if we've decided ahead of time that we won't give it to them, they'll still say, nope, I got it last time, I want it again. So there is a way to control the senses without being so austere that they snap back later. For instance, sometimes people will control their senses in such austere ways that later on the senses come back and demand more also. Bhakti yoga gives facility to the senses, but in such a way that they become purified. And Srila Rupa Goswami says in his book, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which describes the process of bhakti, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatpratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. That's the process of bhakti means to engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses, that is Krishna. And there are two byproducts from that. One is we become free from designations. Designations means that I think I'm something particular in this world. When I'm born into the world, I'm seemingly a clean slate, but then my parents come and they slap a name tag on my chest. And they say, this is your new name, this is your new identity. You're from Boston, Massachusetts, and your new name is Ricky or Schnicky or whatever you choose, but it's all arbitrary. And then you have to live with that. But it's a designation. And someone may be a man, someone may be a woman, someone may be a cat, or some may be a dog. But these are all external designations. And what is real knowledge? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavihastani Shuni Chaiva Shapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. That a really learned person knows that behind all the different varieties of bodies, there's the same spiritual soul. Same in the sense, the same quality as God. Although the souls are individual, they are similar, unlike the external bodies. And therefore, although the yogi, although the learned person, may interact with those different kinds of bodies in responsible ways. For instance, just because a learned person sees that the tiger is a spirit soul, it doesn't mean that he's going to make intimate contact with him and try to pet him and things like that, because there's danger there. And that's an interesting point, because we're living in a world of duality. We have our material responsibilities to the body, and we have our ultimate responsibility to our soul and to God. And how to balance those two is a great art. And that's the art of bhakti. So one byproduct of performing service with the senses to Krishna is that we become purified of this designation. And the second is that the senses themselves become purified, become pure senses. We have senses. We are sentient. We have feelings. And now they're covered over by matter. Matter means a misidentification, thinking that I'm the enjoyer, and therefore I'm given facility to try to enjoy in a material way, separate from God. And my original senses become covered over by matter. By bhakti, the senses become purified. Not only that, they become transcendentalized. Just as much as if you take an iron rod and you put it into fire, the rod becomes hotter, and then pretty soon it becomes the same as the fire. Same in quality. You can't tell the difference between the rod and the fire. It's glowing just like the fire is glowing. And similarly, as we use our senses in the service of Krishna, the senses also become Krishnaized. They become transcendentalized. They become spiritualized. And through spiritual senses, we can experience real happiness, the kind of happiness that we're looking for. So this temple in the middle of Silicon Valley is a proving ground. It's a place where people can come and experiment on themselves, and that's necessary. You have to try it. Of course, it's so attractive. The process is so attractive, and it's so powerful that even if you try it a little bit, you may notice an inordinate reaction, or you may notice progress right away from trying just a little bit. And that should pique your interest, that what if I actually tried? What if I tried to become more involved and actually read some of the books that teach about bhakti and find out how to integrate it into my life? If you try it a little bit, or if, as we say, if you dabble in it and you get a nice result, you feel some happiness from trying it, then we also have designed the program here for those who would like to go a little further, who would like to find out how to follow the process of bhakti the way the great teachers of bhakti have followed it many, many years ago and for over millennia, and have passed it down. And there is a beginner's course. There's a way in which one can learn about the process of bhakti that is introductory, and which teaches some basic principles that one can apply in one's life every day, that will help to regulate the senses in such a way that they won't disturb us when we're trying to experience Krishna. And the best way to experience Krishna, and the way that we teach, which we received from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who passed down the system of meditation for the age of Kali Yuga, is through chanting God's names. This is a great science. You can see all over the world, at least all over the Christian world, you'll see that there are schools named after the holy name of God. Has anybody ever heard of a Holyname high school or a Holyname college? Raise your hand if you've heard anything starts with Holyname. Where did you see it? St. Mary's?
Berkeley, they have a girls' school called Holyname.
In Berkeley, they have a girls' school named the Holyname High School? Holyname College? Where is it? Catholic school in Toronto is called the Holy Names. So it's a very interesting science. God, because He is all-powerful, He's omniscient, everything about Him is absolute. His picture is absolute. His form is absolute. When we worship Him in the temple, in the form of marble, wood, or stone, in the authorized way, He also is personally present there. But according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the way in which anyone can have direct access to God without waiting or without going anywhere, at any time in any place, is to repeat His name. Because the name of God is the same as God. There's no difference at all. So everyone say, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There you have it. And that's all that's required. Just to chant Hare Krishna. There's a mantra, and this mantra comes, we see it appear in the Vedic literature. It's from the Kali Yuga Upanishad. And the whole mantra is listed. And the mantra is like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this mantra appears in the Kali Yuga Upanishad. And it is said there that one who sings this mantra will be able to overcome all the trials and tribulations and ills of the Kali Yuga age and can become delivered by that. And even deeper than that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtakam talks about the miraculous effects and progressive path from chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That is, one will begin to first, by chanting, one will feel that one's material troubles are being diminished. And just as much as a forest fire, which is very troubling, it just rages through, it kills everything in its path, it burns down everything. It's very scary, actually. And the material world that we live in is compared to that fire, that burning fire. So when one chants the Hare Krishna mantra, it's like the rains have come in. Big rains. That's what firemen pray for more than anything, is rain. Because when the rain comes and it's a strong rain, then the fire has no chance. So we need more than just a few buckets of water. These are compared to the little adjustments we can make in this life. A little bit of self-help, a little psychology, something to control the senses in a temporary way. These things may appear to work for a little while, but the fire is too powerful for that, the blazing fire of material existence. But the first claim that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes, among the first claims, is that by chanting Hare Krishna, you'll extinguish the blazing fire of material existence. And another one is that it will clear the mirror of the mind. The mind is like a mirror. We see ourselves through the conscious mind. Mind, it reflects. And when that reflective surface, the mirror of the mind, is distorted, then we have a distorted view of ourselves and of the world. If you look into a mirror that is blemished, you'll see your head a little bit lopsided, and you'll freak out and go running out the door. And you'll think, oh my goodness, I'm a monster. And so the mirror of our mind has become distorted, and it's become covered over by dust. And therefore, we can't see ourselves, and the ways we do see ourselves are distorted, and so forth. The chanting will clear that, so one can actually see oneself, and the reflective surface becomes pure and clean, and therefore one can see things as they are. And the chanting of Hare Krishna also opens the white lotus of good fortune. That sounds good, doesn't it? Wouldn't you all like that? Whatever it is, Vaisesika, it sounds good. I'll take it. The white lotus is a particular kind of lotus. It opens at night. Now, those of you who know lotuses, how many of you know lotuses well? Good for you. They're beautiful flowers. In Japan, I was at the botanical gardens, and I missed them when I went last October because there was only one blooming. Of course, I could see one. But when I was there when was I there? May or June in Japan? They were all blooming like anything. And Japanese are avid and expert gardeners. And when you go to the botanical gardens where they have nothing else to do but garden all day, you can imagine what it's like. This is near Osaka. And there we saw all the lotus flowers blooming, and especially that time of year, it's hot and muggy, and they like that. They come out of the water and they bloom. They're surreal. They're so perfect and beautiful and brilliant. And there's a white lotus that doesn't bloom in the hot sun. It blooms with the moonlight. So Kali Yuga is called the dark age. It's a dark age because there's ignorance. Ignorance means darkness. But in the Kali Yuga, the great moon is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's arisen, Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandao Sahodito Godadai Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonudao. Described in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the golden book. Try this. This is the yoga move. You should try this. Turn your heads all the way to the right. Keep turning, turning, turning. A little further, a little further. Try to twist your torso till you see all the way back to that clock. And you'll see the second shelf down from the clock on the left-hand side. There's a golden book. This is about the golden avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in that book, which describes the advent of God in the Kali Yuga, which is something we should know about, because we need help. Call for help, quick. Kali Yuga. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandao Sahodito Godadai Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamoduda. In the age of Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have appeared like the sun and moon on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of everyone and wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. I volunteer for that benediction. I'll take it. This is the white lotus of good fortune. So although Kali Yuga is night for the souls, the white lotus of good fortune blooms, especially when the Sankirtan is going on. So if you chant Hare Krishna, even though it seems as if everything's against you, even though it seems bad fortune knows where you live now and somehow has your phone number, not very good. And nowadays, everybody knows where everyone is. You get to see these ads pop up all the time. You want to know about your old friends? Just look them up and you can hunt them down. Everything's available online and everything's preserved there. So, in any case, it doesn't matter in any age. Chanakya Pandit said that in a herd of tens of thousands of cows, a little calf finds its mother. And in the same way, our destiny finds us. It doesn't matter where we go, where you move, how you move, destiny will come and find you. But if you chant Hare Krishna, it changes everything. The brilliance of the white lotus of good fortune enters into our lives, and it fulfills our innermost desire. It gives us detachment from the material scenes that tend to distract our vision. It gives us a higher vision, something that we've been hankering for life after life, looking for something. This is called abhishtadoham. It fulfills our innermost desire, what we're really looking for. And a person who begins to chant Hare Krishna, there's a practical reason why a person becomes fortunate. Because although I may say fortune is seeking me out and it sounds as if I'm being chased down, and sometimes it feels like that, I've become my own worst enemy. I've caused myself grief. This is a revelation that is very important for any progressive human being, to realize that wherever I am now, I caused it. It's not the fault of anybody else. I'm not being oppressed, although I am oppressed, but I've caused it. I've brought it on myself. And admitting that is a very good place to start, because once I admit it, then I have the power, I also admit that I have the power to change it. Because if I did it to myself, I can undo it too, right? How do I undo it? I must invoke the white lotus of good fortune by chanting Hare Krishna. It's something much higher than me. That's a good place to start with understanding what is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. I may not have complete faith in it. I may not understand the esoteric writings about the holy name. I may not understand how there could be a personality of Godhead. But I can admit this. It's a power much higher than me. And then if what I can understand, it's a benevolent power. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He says, I'm all powerful, I own everything, I own you, but I'm really good. That's a good situation, isn't it? God's all powerful, He's all merciful. Now, if you take away either one of those, you're in trouble. Because if He's all powerful and He's not all merciful, it means we're really going to be messed up. Because He could just look down and say, let me mess people up for no reason. But that's not Krishna. Krishna is the perfect moral agent. He gives us misery in this world, of course, but it's in exact proportion to whatever misbehavior I'm conducting myself. In fact, He sets it up in a perfect way as Sri Ananda Maharaj often says, as cosmic sensitivity training. Whatever kinds of buttons I push have a very specific reaction, which are meant to bring me to higher consciousness. It's all out of mercy, actually. Maya also means mercy. And so if we say God's all-powerful, but He's not all-merciful, we're in trouble, but He is all-merciful. And if we say that He's all-merciful, but He's not all-powerful, then what can He do? But if He's all-powerful and all-merciful, and He's in His name, good idea to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Good place to start. Just admit, I'm not that higher power. And if you give up and you leave it to Krishna, which He recommends in the Bhagavad Gita, very clearly, He says, just give up and surrender to me. And I say, whew, okay. That's a happy day. When I realize, okay, I give up. I'll leave it to Krishna. And then, okay, what do you want me to do? And in the age of Kali, what does He say? Lord Chaitanya comes and says, here's practical. Chant God's name. And here's a mantra. Just take it. So if I can admit that much and just try with that much realization or faith, doesn't matter what situation I'm in now, the holy name is all powerful and it will elevate me to the position of understanding bhakti, understanding God. Even the dim reflection of the holy name, called the Abbas. It means a little light comes through the clouds. On a sunny day, we can see the sun clearly. On a cloudy day, we may think the sun's not there, it doesn't have any effect. But I beg to differ. 3 years ago at the Rath Yatra in San Francisco, it was one of the coldest days on record on the planet Earth. There may have been no colder day ever on the planet Earth, including the North Pole, during Rath Yatra 3 years ago in San Francisco during the summertime. And therefore, all day long, I ran around without a hat. And I thought, ha, 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 I don't have to wear a hat. Because after all, it's a cold day and it's cloudy. And then the next day, when I looked in the mirror, I realized, ha, 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 I'm sunburned really badly. And then I read a few articles about sunburn, and they said, be careful. Even when there's cloud cover, the ultraviolet rays come through, even though you can't see them. They will affect you. And then I was thinking about this Abbas, this dim reflection of the holy name, actually imperceptible. We can't even see it, but we have some faith that it's there. Yarabaso pyudyan kavalita bhava dvanta vibhavo drisham tatvandanam api dishiti bhakti pranayanim. Bhakti pranayanim means that if you hear the holy name, if you chant the holy name, even if you're in the darkest ignorance, even if the cloud cover is so thick, you can't even see the rays of the holy name. Still, the Shastra says, you'll come to understand the intricacies of bhakti just by that dim ray that comes through. Ekadesha stitasyagner jyotsna vistarani yata parasya brahmana shaktis tatedam akilam jagat. Do you know that verse from the Vishnu Purana? I saw your Ramanuja Tilak. Sri Ramanuja quoted a lot from the Vishnu Purana. This verse from the Vishnu Purana, it says, although in one place the sun gives off its energies, heat and light, in distant places. So in this similar way, although in one place the Supreme Personality of Godhead displays His energies unlimitedly all over the universe. In fact, we can see this, even this universe is a display of one of the very insignificant energies of Krishna. What to speak of His direct personality, which the Shastras say is perfectly present in His holy name. So Lord Chaitanya says, if you chant the holy name, the white lotus of good fortune opens in your life. And Rupa Goswami says that what happens is your sins are destroyed. What is the cause of all suffering for all human beings? If we could answer that question, then we could start making progress in life rather than creating more suffering for ourselves. Is there one single cause for all suffering for every human being in this world? Yes or yes? Yes. Correct. It's sin. It's going against the law. It's driving on the wrong side of the road. There's a law, drive on the right side of the road. If you drive on the left side of the road, what happens? Who knows? But it's not very good. So similarly, when we disobey the laws of God, then there's a reaction. And who to blame when you get a ticket for driving on the wrong side of the road? Who do you get to blame? The police? You blame the police. You stupid. Doesn't help. It's ignorance. It's driving on the wrong side of the road. So ignorance causes sin. It causes disobedience because we don't know what to do. And we do the wrong thing. So the holy name brings light. And it destroys ignorance. And it kills even the very insignificant little sprouts of sin, which form a circular reaction, just as there's a seed and then there's a tree and there's interim stages. And those become destroyed by the fire of the holy name. And one comes to knowledge. How? By the proximity, by one's proximity to the holy name. As Srimad Bhagavatam says, Sutta Goswami says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayat Yashuvairagnyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitukam. If you serve Krishna, then you'll naturally get knowledge and detachment from the world. These concomitants will come to you, and you'll know how to act, and at the same time, sinful reactions will be destroyed. There's different stages of karma, which are the result of sinful reactions, and all the different stages get destroyed by the holy name. So, once we begin chanting the holy name of Krishna, the sinful reactions are diminished, and then we feel relief. So, when we chant Hare Krishna, when we perform devotional service, one of the first symptoms is that we begin to be relieved from distress. The second is that our life of auspiciousness begins. Auspiciousness means that you can do good for yourself and you can do good for others. You can actually do something for them. And it also puts one in transcendental pleasure. And devotional service is very rare. Pure devotional service. Those in devotional service reject even the idea of liberation. They're not interested in liberation because they have something even higher. And this pure devotional service, serving God for service sake, is the only way to attract Krishna. These are symptoms, that are listed by Rupa Goswami in his Nectar of Devotion. In other words, there's a very clear path to perfection in devotional service, which is given in the Shastra. And this opening of the white lotus of good fortune invokes Krishna's mercy in our lives, and we can understand and read all about these various stages and the reasons why these things take place. Also, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That one who engages in Sankirtan, that means especially the congregational chanting of the holy name, or the loud chanting of Hare Krishna, or the organized way of spreading the holy name of the Lord. It means broadcasting. Sankirtan also means to broadcast the holy name. Do you know this word broadcast? What does it mean to you? What do you think of when I say broadcast? But I mean, in modern terms, what do you think of? TV?
Having the chant on TV and your windows down in the car.
But broadcast, doesn't it mean like television or radio or something? Loudspeakers? They got some loudspeakers in India. I've seen that. My friend told me in India, sometimes when people buy a loudspeaker system, they turn it up to full blast and they break off the switch, and then there's only on-off. So it's like... Because one day I was walking in Govardhan, and there was a speaker. It was one of those horn speakers that was playing music that was so loud that I thought my eardrum would break, so I had to cover my ears. But when I got closer, I saw a man sleeping on the back of a rickshaw, and he was right underneath the speaker, sound asleep. But that's another thing. So, broadcast means to cast broadly, and it really comes from, it's farming terminology. Spreading seeds means spreading the seeds out in a broad way, as broadly as possible. So Sankirtan and Prachar, preaching, it's also translated in our books as broadcast, how to broadcast. So the broadcasting of Hare Krishna mantra, that comes to people who are appreciating it in their own lives. When you have something that you really, really appreciate, what do? You keep it to yourself. You don't tell anybody. Right? Right? No, Vaisesika. You tell everybody because there's a way in which, that's the nature of happiness. Happiness it overflows. It wants to share itself with other people. That's what it does. It's like it gives it out. That's what happiness means. So when somebody's experiencing for themselves a change in their lives, they want to broadcast it. They want to give it out to as many other people as possible. And there's a benefit in that too, because the more you give it out and the more you see it reflected back to you. For instance, so many times devotees will go out and chant Hare Krishna, and they'll see other people become spontaneously affected by their chanting, and they'll begin dancing, or they'll become devotees even. We see it here in our own assembly over the many years. We'll go out, distribute books, or we'll chant Hare Krishna, and then somebody shows up and say, "What are you doing here?" We don't really say it like that, but we ask them, "How'd you get here?" And they'll say, "Well, I got a book, I heard the chanting, and I couldn't help myself. I want to find out more about this." And that increases our faith because we realize, well, there's something in this. Because the mind always has a tendency to say, life's boring. I mean, life's never boring, actually. It's actually interesting that we can even wake up in the morning and breathe, isn't it? It's a fascinating subject, how the body even holds together. Homeostasis is going on. How do all the organs cooperate so that I can actually walk around and have life? You don't even appreciate it. I don't even appreciate it until something goes wrong and they go, oh, I can't take this for granted. But the mind always wants to take everything for granted. But a spiritual life means every moment there's a new awakening. And part of that is when you broadcast, when you give it out to other people, you see other people reawakening. and experiencing a higher taste, and through them you vicariously experience a higher taste, and it increases your own taste. So this is Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Everything's good in it. In these verses in this Shikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the benefits-based marketing. He's telling us, here are all the benefits from just chanting Hare Krishna. And similarly, great devotees like Rupa Goswami have also written these very concise poems and verses which describe the power of chanting Hare Krishna. And if you study those, you'll find in them these remarkable realizations that will stimulate your own desire to try the chanting of Hare Krishna. And if you do that, it'll work. It just works. Some things you don't have to know exactly how they work. You just work them. You don't have to know where your power... Does anybody here know exactly where the power station is that's lighting up your house? Or how it gets to your house? It's a very interesting system. The grid system. I mean, you can't take that for granted either. There's a lot of thought that's gone into this grid system that we have all over California, all over America, actually. It's a miracle, really. A miracle of modern engineering. And it could go out at any time also, by the way. But I take it for granted. Others just light. But you don't have to know everything about electricity to take advantage of it. And similarly, if you chant Hare Krishna, if you take Krishna's advice, if you take Lord Chaitanya's advice and just try the chanting of Hare Krishna, then you'll experience all these things for yourself. There'll be a renaissance of consciousness. You'll have a renaissance of consciousness, a reawakening, a desire to know more about yourself and about God. And it becomes real. The light comes in and you're able to see actually, what is my real situation? And what is my real wealth? We used to do a play a long time ago, Vrindavan Priya. This was a popular play in ISKCON about putting your money in the wrong bank account. And it had a fellow who kept going to the bank and he kept depositing, and then finally he needed to make a withdrawal and he went there and asked for his money and they said, "You don't have any." He said, "What are you talking about?" And it turned out he was one digit off. He was putting the money in the wrong account the whole time. And then, of course, the analogy is that I may be investing much energy in my life and developing wealth and so forth, but it's the wrong account. If it doesn't take account of my spiritual advancement, it simply evaporates at the time of death or at any other time, even before I have to leave this body. But chanting Hare Krishna is real wealth. It's real money in the bank. Someone who realizes that becomes greedy for it. Just as a person who realizes they have a chance to make a lot of money, they become enthusiastic to work hard for it, right? When there's an opportunity? No? Yeah. So, similarly, a person who realizes their real prospect in life, real wealth comes through chanting Hare Krishna, they'll become eager to do it more and more and more, to experience it. So we've created this center for practicing this, for experiencing it for ourselves, and inviting as many people in as possible to have this experiment in consciousness. And it's good to experiment on yourself. Otherwise, what are we doing? Don't just follow the regular course of life. Why? Why do you have to follow the regular course of life? Find out a course of life which is chalked out by authoritative, spiritually advanced and progressive people. Analyze that and then say, let me try this. And then apply it as much as possible and see what happens. And we guarantee that the results will be exciting and will be rewarding. And this is really what we're marketing here. We have to be marketing something, right? And that's what it is. And it's all based on this chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And now we'll take a few reflections. Anything that you heard so far that's stuck in your mind. And we have several microphones, high quality microphones, here in the audience. So when you have a reflection, you can raise your hand and we'll pass you the mic. And we'd also at this time like to thank all of you who have joined us on the internet. Welcome. to ISKCON Silicon Valley Sunday program. And you can also participate by calling in. If you're not already on the telephone line, you can call in on the line, which is listed on the screen on ISKCON Silicon Valley. Or you can text us at 650-245-7018. That's 650-245-7018. And our operators are standing by to take your calls. And now we'll take a few reflections. And Sam's going to start off.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna? Okay. So I was appreciating, two things that were kind of related that you said, one in the beginning and one towards the end. You were saying that, the grid system could go down at any time. And at the same time, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are compared to the twin sun and moon that rise up and actually light up our existence. Lord Chaitanya particularly pointed out as the moon that lights up the night. Kali Yuga is like the night. So when the things that we're trying to rely on fail for us and we're in darkness, his method is designed to be there to give us the guidance that we need when everything else is falling apart.
Well done. Thank you. More reflections. Nitin. Here comes the microphone. Where's the other microphone? Okay.
Hare Krishna. A couple of things that really stuck with me were, one was that, I think you used the word progressive, and that was, you said, progressive thinking is, wherever I am now, I caused it, which was interesting. I mean, in the modern world, we always think that being progressive is not wherever I caused. No, I caused it. I never thought that that is a progressive way of thinking. But actually, it's a very good definition of karma. It's something which people can intelligently think about. I think I really appreciate that point. And the second thing about admitting that I'm not the higher power, which is about humility. Because every step you think that you're the higher power, because you control everything. Even if you have a little bit, you think that, oh, I'm so great. And the admission is the hard part. So I really think those are very great points.
Thank you very much. It's also a relief, isn't it?
Yeah,
to admit that I'm not the Supreme Controller. Thank you very much, Nitin. Well done. And Shraddha has some texts have just come in? No, okay.
But I just had a different.
Okay.
So I really liked your point. You were giving the example of the person back in India who was sleeping beneath the loudspeakers. And I was thinking that there was a sannyasi who had come here, and he had mentioned that Krishna, kind of tells you what to do through the scriptures. So that's a very subtle way of Krishna speaking to us. And then he's in our hearts as the Paramatma. So it's a little bit, he's telling you again, the conscious tells you, this is wrong and you shouldn't do this. And then we still don't listen, and then he speaks to you through the loudspeaker of misery.
The loudspeaker of misery.
But we still sleep beneath it.
And it's possible to sleep through it, right? Yeah. Nice. Thank you very much. That's usable. Malini.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the nice lecture, Prabhuji. And my point was also Sam Prabhu's point, which I liked it too. And the other point that I was thinking was that you said, even though you don't understand the power of the holy name, you just do it. So one reflection I was thinking about that yesterday when the Mayapuris came, before Kish Prabhu was chanting the Mahamantra, he set the mood before that, saying that he chanted the verse from the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, saying that you think Krishna as your friend, like the way Arjuna thought. And he said you chant the holy name in that mood. And I was looking at Krishna, I was thinking, how do you do that? I don't know how to be Krishna's friend. And Arjuna was such an exalted soul, so he could be Krishna's friend, but how can I be Krishna's friend? But then I thought, because he said it, let me just try. I don't know. So I was just, it was just in my consciousness, and I was chanting the holy name like that. And I was very tired. I thought I will not be able to dance, so I was just sitting. And soon, because the consciousness like Krishna's friend, so what do you do when the holy name is chanted? You just stand up and dance. And I saw that there was not a single person in the room who was sitting. Everybody was jumping up and down like children do. Like, it's not that they were choreographic dancing. Everybody was dancing like without any cares, like how you do with your friends, like kids do it. So I was just thinking, that's what it means to be Krishna's friend. So even though I don't understand what it means to be Krishna's friend, but if I just do it, chant the holy name, then some little reflection will come which will help us keep going.
Very nice. So this is practical. I was saying this is a proving ground. You can come here and experiment on yourself. And the kind of realization that Malini is expressing here is invaluable. When you have that for yourself, you can tell from the tone of her voice and the kind of the way she's speaking about it that she has something now. This is viable. It's tangible. It's something that she'll keep with her for the rest of her life. In the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, a person is made of his faith. We're made of faith. That's what we're made of. In fact, we can't move without faith. We only move by faith. You don't move anywhere or do anything unless you have faith. That's what animates us, is our faith. You don't cross the road unless you have faith that a bus isn't going to come along and run you over. In fact, when you cross the street, you look at the driver in the eye and go, you're not going to run me over, right? And then you kind of... when I travel too, I'm always thinking, I have faith in this guy to some degree. I don't know who he is. He just picked me up in his cab. And, you have to have... otherwise, you can't move. And the spiritual world is called the world of faith. It's pure faith. The movement is unrestricted. When we move in this world, I'm always thinking, is it safe? Is it safe? Is the next step going to be safe? Whatever I travel, when you're outside your known area of influence. In other words, when you're not home and you go to eat something in another place, don't you always check and see what's in it? But if your best friend comes up and hands you something and says, eat this, you just pop it in your mouth, right? Or if somebody gives you a lollipop from the Dum Dum factory, you don't think about it because you go, yeah, I trust the Dum Dum factory because they're, after all, I don't know what goes in the thought process, but there's some construct there, the faith that I'll take this. So developing this kind of faith means that we can move freely in spiritual life. And Bali Mardan Prabhu has another reflection.
Yes, Prabhuji. I like your also statement about the white lotus, how it blooms and really brings the real fortune, because Srila Prabhupada also mentions in Bhagavatam in some places that there are two beautiful things in this world. One is the full moon and the second is the blue lotus, he mentioned, but definitely white lotus is bringing us the real fortune, where one pays attentive chanting, then he can see maybe in the daylight, just like you mentioned about the nice verse, how Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the real moonlight for all of us to sustain and give the real devotion, pure bhakti. That was a fantastic point.
Thank you very much. Well done. Gandharvika.
I was just reminded of when Shraddha Mataji in last Harinam Sankirtan, she was telling you that she has to give the lecture tomorrow. And immediately you said that, don't give it from here, give it from here. So I really thought that today you really proved it. Like from your heart it really poured out, like your attachment to the holy name. So I really think that each and every point that you mentioned in the lecture needs to be like printed, and if we keep it in front of us every day when we chant, it will really help us to progress in our chanting. So thank you very much for giving us your secrets, because usually people don't give out the secrets, but today you gave out all the secrets. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Well, that's an interesting point, because in spiritual life, our ability to actually express what's in our heart is dependent on the receivers. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's mention of how Shukadeva Goswami was a qualified teacher and Parikshit Maharaj was a qualified student. And therefore there was this transmission on a very high level, qualified in a very high way. Shukadeva Goswami was not interested in the material world, and at the same time he already had attachment to the spiritual world and involvement in it. And Parikshit Maharaj was completely sincere about hearing what he had to say. Those two things together mean powerful transmission. When somebody's speaking to someone who's not interested, I had this experience once when I went to a funeral for my friend Stan Wall, who's a good friend of mine in high school, and he died of cancer. So I went to his memorial service at the St. Stephen's Church in Orinda, which is over in the East Bay. And I went and I spoke at the memorial service, and then I went downstairs in the church, and they were having some kind of a picnic or something like that. And I was surprised. I didn't know they served alcohol in churches. They do that, huh? How would you know? But in any case, they were serving wine or something like that. Wine. And I just happened, because we were mutual friends in high school, to run into an old teacher friend of mine. I think she's taught something like what we called social studies. And it was in junior high school. And it was in high school. And right around that time, I had sort of renounced high school and the world. And I began coming to school with matted hair and no shoes. And I did my duty by sitting in class, but I was already gone, into spiritual practice. I wasn't interested anymore. And I used to walk to and from school. So the reason I bring this up is because she was very nice, and sometimes she would drive by and she would pull up on the way home, and she would say, "Do you want to ride?" And although I had a vow not to ride in cars, one day I took a ride from her, and she was asking me, what's going on with you? So I was saying, I've renounced the world, and I'm... and so forth. So anyway, while we were at this mixer at this church funeral for Stan Wall, she knew him well. That's why she was there. And so she asked me, "So what about this? I heard you got into the Krishna consciousness movement, and can you tell me about it?" So she was there with her boyfriend or something, and at first I was just talking some basic things about how you're not your body and things like that, and she was kind of interested. And then he brought over a glass of wine, and she started sipping on it. And I noticed, if you had a little graph, a bar graph, with every sip, her ability to cognate and understand what I was saying, it dropped down by each sip. And I could see a direct correlation. And finally, I was saying, it's very simple things. And she said, "Do you understand?" She goes, "No, I don't get it. I don't understand." And so the audience was not open, no open channel, no reception. And so a spiritual community is very important, because when devotees come together, this is called satsang. Satam prasangam amavirya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata. The Shastra, the Srimad Bhagavatam says, when people come together who are very open channels, they're very sincere, they have faith in the process of devotional life, and they want to hear, and they develop this love and trust, so they're open channels, then you can really start speaking at a much higher level. And you can, the Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking about the spiritual world. Who really wants to hear about that? How many customers are there out there? When Srila Prabhupada came to America, you can see his prayers. He was saying, "Please let them understand this. How am I going to get this message across?" And the Srimad Bhagavatam is itself, Kova Bhagavatasya Kona Kuryat Kataratim. Who will not have attraction for this message? The sages at Naimasaranya are asking this question. Who won't want to hear this? And then the answer comes, people who are killing themselves by, self-medication, by killing animals, by doing things which are in darkness. And it dulls their ability to actually take the message. So again, this center is an oasis. It's important because we're actually inviting in, we're trying to attract, actually, people who are open channels. They want to know. They're sincere. And it doesn't matter what background you're from. It's not a specific cultural presentation. What it is opening the channel to the spiritual world. which is the only thing that's really important for human beings. We are built as channels to be able to take in the vibration of the spiritual world. That's why it takes so long for a child to develop, a human child. A wildebeest, on the other hand, that's born in the... Where are wildebeest born? In Africa on a savanna? Would that be accurate? In any case, when a wildebeest... Do you even know what a wildebeest is? It's a what? The lions eat the wildebeest? Okay. Well, what happens when a little baby wildebeest comes out, it's born, and it comes out, and it immediately tries to stand up. And then it wants to sit down, and the mother wildebeest says, "Get up. You can't sit down now. You don't have a few seconds to sit down," because the lions are already prowling around. They're waiting to come and get the wildebeest. And so, but it matures very quickly. A lot of different animals, very quickly they mature. They can go out and they could start foraging and killing whatever they do for themselves. They can start walking right when they come out. Human beings, it takes a long time. It's a very finely tuned machine, the human body. Nridehamajam sulabam sudulabam, plavam sukalpam gurukarnadaram, mayana kulyena nabasvaterikam. What is it? Puman bhavabdin nataretsa atmaha. So this verse says the human body is like it's like a special boat, a racing boat. They spend how much on a boat now? How much did Larry Ellison spend? $200 million for a boat. So it's the human body, the body you have, is much more valuable than Larry Ellison's $200 million boat. Consider that next time you feel a little depressed or you don't have money in the bank. You pick up the phone, "I'm worth more than $200 million." Way more than that. It's the most valuable thing to have this body. It's a channel. It takes time to develop. It incubates and it comes out. And the human body is specifically designed to channel sounds from the spiritual world, to take them in. And it requires an environment. Just like any scientific experiment, you have to have the right kind of environment so you can get the data. The information has to come into the machine properly. And this is it. This is the environment. That's why we have these four walls, why we have a certain sound vibration in here. There's a certain kind of activity that's allowed. And in a personal life, there's certain parameters for performing the experiment. For instance, we eat in a certain way. We regulate our senses in a certain way to keep the channel open. So it's very important, this point you made about receptivity. And when that channel is open, when we're able to open our channel in our own life through spiritual practice, through regulation of the senses, and through practice of concentration on the sounds that come from the spiritual world, we can start to hear them. When you actually hear even one note from the spiritual world, one syllable, if you actually hear it from the spiritual world, which is what the Hare Krishna mantra is, if you can hear one syllable of that mantra in its pure, raw form, then everything changes in your life. And that's what we're meant to do. That's the only reason we're meant to work or subsist in this world, is to maintain the body so that it can be an open channel, so it can hear that sound. And those who realize that, they balance their life in such a way that they don't go too far off on one side or the other. They keep a balanced life because they want to hear the sound more and more. It's that sound vibration. Anavriti shabdat, anavriti shabdat. If you can hear that sound, it uncovers you. It takes away all the layers, which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, so you can actually experience for yourself the spiritual world. You can see it right in front of your eyes. You can see Krishna for yourself with your own two eyes. Because he reveals himself to those who are very sincere and who apply themselves to the process of bhakti. He reveals himself. We'll take two more reflections.
There's a text message also here.
Oh, a text.
So this is from Sacramento, Shyam Rupa Das.
Shyam Rupa, thank you for texting in from Sacramento.
And he liked the definition that good fortune arises by chanting.
Good fortune arises by chanting. Yes. Nice point. We should do it more. Okay. Jayama Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for explaining the nature of how holy name expands itself. Like if there is a fire present, then light and heat, they eminently are there and they expand on their own. And that was something that revealed the nature of the holy name and how it basically enters. Whosoever is in the vicinity itself gets benefited by that to begin with, and then it basically enters in and changes your life thereon.
Nice. Thank you very much. This second verse of the Shikshashtakam, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nijya Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Nimahita Smarane Naka Itadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Idrisham Ihajuni Nanuraga. Very couple key words there. Nija Sarva Shaktis. Nija means personal. So the holy name has all of Krishna's personal energies. He's personally present there within the holy name. It's something to meditate on when you're chanting. And proximity, anyone that actually comes in contact with the holy name, knowingly or unknowingly, will become affected. And in the bonus round now. Mayapur.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a very fundamentally strong lecture. I really like the way you started giving the balance between material and spiritual life, and an extension of that about the account, the drama that was probably performed earlier about investing in the wrong field. Especially people like me spend a lot of time trying to find happiness, doing something. At the end of the day, it's too late to realize all the deposit was in the wrong account. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very rare that someone, when they realize that they're going to leave this body behind and they have some time to think about it, say, I wish I had spent more time at the office. Or if I had just made a little more money, I would have been happier. But generally people start to gravitate towards the simple pleasures in life and think, I should have spent more time being a loving person, having better relationships, and so forth. There's a way in which when everything is on the line, then we consider what's most important. So a way of living in spiritual life is to become introspective and consider very deeply what is most important to us at every day. This makes a vital existence. Don't just think that it'll go on forever. Think that it can stop at any time. And then try to prioritize and see what are the most important things for me in my life. And execute those things with great enthusiasm and vigor. And if you've made a clear, calculated choice based on what's been taught by the great acharyas, and you go for it, you can't lose. There's no way you can lose. You can only gain. And Narada Muni says, but on the other hand, if you try for everything else in the world and you win, you still don't win. You lose it all. So it's a good idea to become very introspective and also study what are the teachings of the previous acharyas and the ways they think, and follow in their footsteps. And by doing that, we can attain all the success that the acharyas have attained. Even if I'm starting from a point of degradation, if I simply decide I'm going to follow the footsteps of the acharyas, whatever they say, I'm going to try to do, even if I can't do it, if that's my determination, we're eligible for the same high result that all the acharyas get. And of course, this comes from, there are many verses like this, but one favorite verse, which I'll end this lecture on, is Bejare Muneo Tagre Bhagavantam Vatok Sajam Sattvam Vishudham Shemaya Kalpante Yenutaniha, which means follow the great souls. If you follow the great souls, you're eligible for everything they get, even if you're not a great soul. And even if you can't do it perfectly, even if you do it 1%, you'll still be eligible for everything that the great souls got by dint of your intention and your attempt to follow them. All glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, all glories to the chanting of the holy name. Thank you very much for coming tonight. And now we're going to have an exercise in efficiency, which is that as a team, we're going to see how quickly we can pick up all the Shastra deities, all the Bhagavad Gitas and books that we have, transport them back to the cupboards, and put away all the book stands. And previously we've done it in 2.5 minutes. And tonight we're starting now to see what we can do as far as making a new world's record. Can you get her picture Get her that first. Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarisha Tarine. Actually, just leave this. Jaya Gaura Chanderaru Tiko Shobha. Janavi Tatavane Jagamandaloba. Jagajana mana lobha. Jagajana mana lobha. Gaurangera rotiko shobha. Jagajana mana lobha. Gaurangera rotik shobha. Jagajana mana lobha. Jagajana mana lobha. Jagajana mana lobha. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaur Haribol. Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol. Dake ne nitai chan Bame gadadhara Nikate advaita shrini Vaschatradara Nikate advaita shrini Vaschatradara Bose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Bose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Nara Hari Hari Kore Chamaradhulaya Nara Hari Hari Kore Chamaradhulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshari Gaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gosharidaya Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje Shankha Bhaje, Ganta Bhaje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje Shankha Baje, Ganta Baje, Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje. Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje. Hey, Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala Maho Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala Ki Baba Ho Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala. Hey, Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Chalamala Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Chalamala Shiva Shukanarada Prime Gada Gada Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Bhakti Vinoda Dekhe Gaurada Sampada Bhakti Vinoda Dekhe Gaurada Sampada Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Hey, Radha Ramana Hare, Govinda Jai Jaya. Radha Ramana Hare, Govinda Jai Jaya. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. Hey, Radha Ramana Hare, Govinda Jai Jaya. Radha Ramana Hare, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Nariya Nagare Nitai Niche Gaire. Nariya Nagare Nitai Niche Gaire. Nariya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan. Nariya Godrume Nitya. Nariya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan. Oh, Nitai Goranga, Nitai Goranga. Nitai Goranga, Nitai Goranga. Nitai Goranga, Nitai Goranga. Nitai Goranga, Nitai Goranga. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaur Haribol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Go Hari Bo, Nitai Go Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Go Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Go Premanande! Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Privradikacharya Stotaras Shishiman, Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Privradikacharya Stotaras Shishiman, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaud Bhakta Vrindiki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Samabeta Bhakta Vrindiki. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Go Premanande Haribo. Now we'll have an announcement of the Nishringa prayers by Vishaka Leela. Devi Das will tell us what tonight's special presentation is.
Hare Krishna. Today the kids from the Vedic Academy Sunday School Damodar class will be actually presenting the Narshinga prayer as a group.
Which is the Damodar class?
Age group? Oh, sorry, it's Gopinath class.
What is the Gopinath class?
It's the age group of 6 to 10 years.
And what is the Vedic Academy?
Vedic Academy is actually the educational initiative of the ISKCON of Silicon Valley. We have different programs through which we teach the Vedic culture and the message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to the little children. So every Sunday we have a Sunday school for different age groups, and we have different curriculums through which we teach all the the Vedic culture and traditions, especially from the texts of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. To know more about it, for interested parents, please contact me at the end of the program, and I can explain you the details.
Is it fun?
It's too much fun.
And do the kids come out better for it afterwards?
Yes.
In what way?
They're confident, they're very cultured, they're very respectful to elders, and they cherish and uphold values and have very good characters. Yeah.
So they should see you afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone who wants to enroll their kids in the Vedic Academy can talk to Vishaka Leela afterwards. She'll give you all the information.
Yeah. So the Sunday school is from 4 to 6. 4 to 5 every Sunday will be for older kids. The the Madan Mohan class, which is for age group 10 plus, 10 to 13. 9 to 12. And the Kaishora class for kids from 12 to 15. And 5 to 6 p.m. is for the younger kids. The Damodar class from 3 to 6 years. And these classes happen simultaneously because we have 2 classrooms. And the Gopinath class, 6 to 10 years. 6 to 8 years. We also have other courses like Sanskrit courses and Vedic mathematics and also other such courses. So for more details, please contact me after the program. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to the Sunday Feast program at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. We're very happy to see all of you here today. Earlier today we had a very nice inspirational talk from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu about the most merciful nature of the holy name. My reflection from today's lecture is that God is all powerful and He is all merciful. Both factors are extremely important. The fact that He is all powerful is that when we take shelter of Him, He can actually change the course of our life and bring us under His internal potency and give us complete shelter. And the fact that He is all merciful is extremely important, because for millions of lifetimes we have been wandering away from Him, trying to avoid Him in so many ways, as a result of which we ourselves end up suffering. But nevertheless, He is willing to take us under His shelter, and that's because of His all merciful nature. So these two factors taken into account, and the fact that He is completely present with His all potencies in His holy name, gives us hope in life. By chanting this mantra regularly and by taking shelter of the holy name of the Lord, our life can become all auspicious. And this is what human life is meant for. This is what this kind of transformation is what we're supposed to experience in our life. The other reflection I took away from today's class is that these things are not just meant for hearing and then talking about, but it's actually meant to be experienced practically in our own lives. So this is an environment where we are trying to cultivate this mood of shelter and surrender, and we encourage all of you to come regularly, take advantage of our regular programs, read all our books regularly, chant with us Hare Krishna, and all our lives will become extremely auspicious. And at the end of this life, we'll have an opportunity to go back to home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Let's thank our speaker tonight, His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, for this nice lecture and also for the very nice kirtan. Thank you. We would like to welcome our newcomers, those who are coming to the temple for the first time. If you could kindly raise your hands so that we can identify you. So we do have several newcomers. Hare Krishna. I hope you all liked today's program. So please come regularly. And when you step out of the temple hall after the program, there will be a welcome gift for all newcomers. So you can take one. And also leave us your contact information so that we can keep in touch. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let us know. I see some of you have kids, so you just heard about Vedic Academy and Sunday School. So please inquire about the details for the classes, and you can enroll your children too. So let's chant Hare Krishna to welcome all our newcomers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. So we do have a sponsor for tonight. The feast is being sponsored by Raj Srivastav Prabhu and his wife on the occasion of their son's birthday. Are they here? Yes. Oh, right here. Come on. Tell us your name. Tejas. So we'll sing Hare Krishna once again for Tejas on the occasion of his birthday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is some Mahaprasad as a return gift for you. Okay? Wish you all the best. Hare Krishna. Lavanya Mataji's birthday is also today, and we'll also sing for her. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you see, there is some advantage for having your birthday celebrated here at ISV, and double advantage if you also sponsor the feast. So it's a good occasion to What? Anybody else's birthday? Who? The newcomer's birthday. Wow. I'm running out of gifts here. What is your name? Preeti? Okay, we'll sing for you also. This is some sweet rice offered to the Lord today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's an auspicious beginning for you on your birthday, so please come regularly. Hare Krishna. So there's one more birthday that we observed this week, a very special one. So yesterday, those of you who were here were a part of the ceremony. So our fearless leader, His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Prabhu's appearance day was celebrated yesterday with a lot of nice festivities. And once again, we'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude for all that he does for us, for keeping us all together under one roof, and for inspiring us constantly all the time, and for bringing out the best in us. So thank you so much, Vaisesika Prabhu. Hare Okay, garland for Vaisesika. One more announcement for Vedic Academy, and that is next Sunday on October 6th, there is a competition being held, public speaking and private writing. Okay, not public writing. Public speaking and writing competition for kids. They'll be given some topics to speak about and to write about. And this is a very nice contest. It can bring out a lot of creativity in the kids, and they will also be exposed to different topics, how to think about them, and learn also from others. So it's a good opportunity if your kids would like to participate. Today is actually the last day for registration. So participation is by registration only, but it's free of cost, I guess. Okay, or there's a small fee. So please talk to Vishakhalila Mataji about this event. It's from 11 to 1:30 next Sunday, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Hare Krishna. There is about 40 gallons of ahimsa milk in the refrigerator, in the temple refrigerator behind, and we'd like to encourage all devotees to take a gallon or two and also pay the dues to Hari Guru Prabhu. It's only $10 a gallon. It's ahimsa, it's fresh milk, unprocessed, and right from the farm, right from the cows. And the main advantage of supporting or buying milk through this channel is that we directly participate in cow protection program. So the cows from which we get the milk, we have taken a vow that we'll protect them for the rest of their lives. We will not send them to the slaughterhouses. So it's a very important program. So if you have any other questions about it, especially the newcomers, they can talk to Hari Guru Prabhu, and you can try the milk and see how you like it. Also, we'll be organizing the first official farm visit down in San Martin the day before Govardhan Puja. On Govardhan Puja, we worship the Govardhan because it's very dear to Krishna's cows. The cows go and graze on the hill and give us nice nutritious milk. So it's very important for Lord Krishna and his devotees. So to on this festival day, actually a day before that, just to bring the importance of cows into our consciousness, we'll be organizing a farm visit, and there'll be some details coming up for that in about a month. That's it. The cooks for tonight. Yes, can you come here? Mayapur Bihari Prabhu has some.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. As we all know that the December marathon is officially kicked off at ISV at least, but it's very close. So as part of that, this is a sincere request from Team Motel Gita. We had a discussion with Dilip Bhai, Radha Venkat Prabhu and few other devotees for two things. Next weekend is Navratri, and a lot of Gujarati, especially the motelier and the family, have invited us, or there is a potential to attend the Navratri festival as part of displaying our books and also getting an order. Last year, Sacramento congregation had tried that. I'm not sure if Radha Venkat Prabhu and the devotees are there on the call. Oh yeah, sorry, we have Sudeep Prabhu here. And yeah. So, we got orders for a few hundred books, and also it's a good platform to canvas our cause. We cannot afford money in advertisement. So, believe me, any time spent would be worth it. If you can spend 2 weekends, 2 nights actually, few hours, I'm very sure we can get orders for hundreds of books, if not thousands, just at a single Navratri night. Especially because the Patel moteliers are really good. Now, Dilip Bhai is already organizing one in the Bay Area. Getting an entry. I know Sacramento team is all for it. And even if you are interested, you can reach to me, Dilip Bhai, or even Sudeep Prabhu. And of course, Malini Mataji. We can try and arrange. We need devotees to attend some of this. That is one thing. And last year, Damodar Prabhu and Dilip Bhai started and they named it Freeway Sankirtan. Highway Sankirtan, although that's not the word in the US, but it was pretty successful. Same way, Sacramento devotees were able to play 600 Gitas in, I think, 2 hours. So we have already decided to go on something similar. Dilip Bhai and Damodar Prabhu would be finalizing a date for Bay Area, probably more than one trip. Dilip Bhai wants to go from 101 all the way to LA and back. We have set it up for Bakersfield, Sacramento, and even further up in Northern California. Now this request is for all the devotees if they can join us. It would not be possible for any individual, of course, to go in all the meetings or all the conventions or such occasions. So everything matters, even if you can spend few hours over a weekend or just join Dilip Bhai or any of our traveling Sankirtan parties, that will be appreciated. We need all your help and support. And once again, reach out to Malini Mataji, myself, or Dilip Bhai, or Damodar Prabhu for any such things. Especially for Navratri, because it's just a week away. Thank you. We need all your help and support. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. This is for the visitors who are coming to our temple. I just wanted to also acknowledge 2 of the tiles which are sold last week. One of the devotee is our dear known Rupa Nuga Prabhu for Laguna Beach. Also, we got another tile, Hem Nema Mataji. I don't have a bell because I came little late. So, Hem Nema is another devotee who has secured a tile, $2,000. Just in case, if you are wondering what we are talking about, if you look behind, there is a wall, golden color, almost like Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu's incarnation. It has 500 custom tiles. Each tile can have 134 characters. Thank you. 2 goes together. So, these are custom made tiles, and Radha Madan Mohan, when the altar is open, sees that name. So in case you want to secure one tile for yourselves, all those visiting aspirants and disciples of Vaisesika Prabhu, if you do not have a tile here, I strongly recommend one for everyone in your family, yourselves, your father, your mother, your kids, your wife. So if you want to get one, let Shraddha Mataji know, or I am Damodar Vamsidhari Das know, and we'll get a tile for you. Thank you so much. And each tile comes for $2,000.
Hare Krishna. Avantika will announce today's cook stand here. Yeah. The cooks for tonight are?
The cooks for tonight are...
Go ahead.
The cooks for tonight are Urmi Mataji, Padma Mataji, Bhavani Mataji, Vittal Prabhu, Sundar Prabhu, and Neela Mataji.
Haribol. Thank you, Avantika, for watching over the cooks. Last but not the least, we'd like to request few volunteers to stay back after Prasadam to help clean the temple. We do have a partial cleaning team in place, but we need more help. So please come and see me after Prasadam. Next is Prasadam prayers.
Everyone, thank you very much for coming tonight again. And for those of you who are here for the first time and don't know the next ritual, it's a singing of prayers in Bengali, which are to acknowledge and glorify the process of honoring prasadam. Prasadam is spiritual food. All the food that we eat here, we first prepare as an offering, and we place it before the Lord on the altar, and we say prayers. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that if you offer me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I'll accept it. So this is a process which is advocated by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and also there's a scriptural way in which one can offer their food to the Lord. So we do that here, and afterwards we distribute that to everyone. So there are prayers in which we glorify this process. And the first prayer says that this body is a network of senses leading to death, and of all the senses, the tongue is most voracious and difficult to control. But the Lord's so kind that He's given us Mahaprasadam to help us control the tongue. And we call out in love for the help of Shri Shri Radhamadan Mohan, Shri Shri Gaurnitai, and glorify them by taking prasadam. And then the second prayer we say in Bengali is that one day at Sri Advaita Prabhu's house, Sri Advaita is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda went there for prasadam. And there was a wonderful pastime that took place at that house of Sri Advaita in regard to honoring prasadam. So all these prayers are meant to help us realize that this, out of all the processes of bhakti, is the nicest. To sit down and honor food which has been offered and accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just by doing that, we can all go back home, back to Godhead, and that ain't bad. Hare Krishna. Sharirad Vijaja Jodendriya Tahika Jive Pele Vishaya Shagare Dharma Jeb Jivayati Loba Moisu Durmati Take Jeta Katita Sangsare Gorada Doyamai Kori Bare Jivajan Shaprashad Anadiloba Jayanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Ita Kadina Shanti Pure Prabhu Advaitera Gare Dui Prabhu Bojane Boshilo Shakori Ashwadana Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana Esha Krishna Ashwadila Heno Shaka Swadane Krishna Prema Aishe Mane Se Preme Koro Ashwadan Jada Buddhi Parihari Prasara Bhojana Kori Hare Hare Bolo Sarvajan Hare Hare Bolo Sarvajan Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Vaishnave Sapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Navijayate Prasade Sarvadhutanam Hanirasya Upajayate Prasana Chetaso Yashu Bhudipaya Vachishtate Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasade Ki Go Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna. Prasadam will be served just outside in the picnic area, and there's plenty of room inside to come back in and sit down and enjoy the prasadam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nari agodrume nichan.